Imagine recording the best vocal performance of your life while your bandmates are secretly auditioning your replacement. Most people think that Deep Purple started with the heavy riffs of 1970, but a year earlier, the original Mark I lineup created a beautiful mess that shouldn't have worked. It's an album wrapped in 15th century hellscapes, clashing orchestral suites against proto-metal aggression. It is the sound of a band literally tearing itself apart. Today, we're diving into the brilliant chaos of Deep Purple's excellent self-titled 1969 album. We'll explore the musical identity crisis, the cursed artwork, and the cold-blooded personnel drama that makes this the most fascinating hour in rock history. By early 1969, Deep Purple was a band with two hearts pulling in opposite directions. On one side, you had John Lord. Lord wasn't just a keyboardist. He was a classically trained visionary who wanted to bridge the gap between the rock club and the concert hall. This ambition reached its highest peak yet with the track April. It's a 12-minute odyssey that starts with acoustic guitars and Lord's melancholic organ. But then the band disappears entirely. For several minutes, the listener is immersed in a full-chamber orchestra. It's haunting, highbrow, and completely disconnected from anything happening in rock music at the time. It was Lord's first real attempt at being a serious composer, a dry run for the concerto they'd record later that year. But while Lord was looking at the 18th century, Ritchie Blackmore was looking into a much louder future. On tracks like The Painter or Why Didn't Rosemary, you can hear Ritchie undergoing a violent evolution. He was shedding the relatively restrained session player style of his early years and finding that aggressive, almost neoclassical shred that would eventually help define the sound of heavy rock. The chaos comes from the fact that these two styles, the Baroque and the brutal, don't naturally fit together. Even the rhythm section was a mismatch. Nick Simper was a fantastic bassist, but he played with a busy, melodic 60s session-style swing. Meanwhile, Ian Pace was already pushing toward a powerful, forward-leaning style. And then singer Rod Evans was very much a 60s-style pop vocalist, excellent but not edgy. It was a collision of different genres happening in the same room. It was a mess, but it was beautiful in its earnestness and accomplishment. The artwork perfectly captured this internal storm. The band chose a detail from Hieronymus Bosch's The Garden of Earthly Delights. If you look closely at the Hell panel, you'll see something strangely appropriate: musical instruments being used as devices of torture. There are figures trapped inside harps and flutes, surrounded by impossible creatures. It's a surreal, grotesque image that mirrored the band's dense and complex sound. But even the art suffered from the band's chaotic business life. Their American label, Tetragrammaton, which was struggling financially at the time, accidentally printed the cover with a heavy purple tint. The band wanted the original earthy, terrifying colors of the 15th century masterpiece, but the label's mistake became the permanent face of the record. It was a visual metaphor for the entire project, a work of art being filtered through accidental, outside interference. But the true mess was happening behind the scenes. While the band was in Delaney's studios in London laying down these tracks, the foundation was already being removed. Blackmore and Lord had decided that to move forward, they needed to get heavier and louder. They began scouting Ian Gillan and Roger Glover, while Rod Evans and Nick Simper were still officially in the band. In fact, Blackmore, Lord, and Pace actually went to see Gillan and Glover perform with their band Episode 6, in secret. This gives the album a haunting subtext. When you hear Rod Evans singing Lelania or Blind, he's giving some of the most soulful, vulnerable performances of his career. He's singing his heart out, completely unaware that his bandmates have already mentally replaced him. It makes this the ultimate breakup album. It wasn't just artistic tension. It was a band where 3 members were already living in 1970, and 2 were still trying to make 1968 work. This isn't just a record. It's a document of a band tearing itself apart in real time. So why does this matter nearly 60 years later? Because usually, this kind of friction destroys a project. But with Deep Purple, the lack of a unified vision is exactly what makes it special. Once they became the Mark II lineup, they became a focused, heavy rock machine. They were brilliant, but they were a system. The 1969 album is the last time Deep Purple was truly unhinged and unpredictable. It's a bridge between the psychedelic 60s and the heavy 70s. A beautiful, accidental mess that captures a legendary band right before they change the world. If you want more deep dives into Deep Purple and its family tree, hit the subscribe button. Now tell me in the comments, is this the pinnacle of the Mark I era, or is it just too messy for your taste? I'm reading them all. Have a good day.